You're listening to A Love Story, the podcast. Thank you for joining me today as I speak with Danny Leslie. Danny is the author of the book Thank You Cancer, a story of love, loss, and hope. It's a story that he wrote beautifully with his wife, Raffi. Now, when I say with his wife, the entire book is memoirs and pieces of their story, journal entries they wrote during the time that Raffi was going through cancer treatments. Typically on his Instagram page, Momentum with Danny, Danny shares about the grief and overcoming that he's gone through in the loss of his wife. What started as a way to express his emotions and feelings has turned into a way to help others who may be going through similar. In today's story, we're going back before the cancer journey started, the beginnings of their relationship, how they met, how they fell in love, the story of getting engaged, getting married, and what it was like for him to watch Raffi have children. Of course, during today's story, we speak on his grief and what losing Raffi has been like for him. I am honored to hold space for Danny to share what started as their original love story. Thank you, Danny, again for allowing me to be a piece that shares part of Raffi with the world. Let's just jump in and jump way back to the beginning of the story with you and Raffi. And when you two met. Can you take us back to 12 years ago when the two of you first met?
Okay, so I moved out to Los Angeles. Really, I was just moving to California. I ended up in Los Angeles, but I was just moving to California to open a gym out there. Was in the fitness world. And so I go out there, start a program with a friend of mine. And if you've ever been to Santa Monica, there's this bluff, and it's 100 feet above the ocean, and it looks over the ocean. It's got huge towering palm trees, and we have this barbell class in this park, and it's the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. So we're having class one day, and she walks up, and it was like, who is this person, type of deal. And come to find out, at the time I was dating someone, she was dating someone, so it was kind of it was just obviously a friend, but there was tension there. And came to class, and she had a car seat in her car. And at the time I'm 20, in my mid 20s, late 20s, and she's 8 years younger, so she's like 19 or 20. And I go in conversation, I kind of mentioned the car seat. So I was like, "Oh, do you have a daughter or son or whatever?" And she goes, "Yeah, I have a daughter." And apparently the look on my face when she said I have a daughter was like she knew she got me. Like she knew there was tension there. And I looked like everything collapsed underneath me, right? I was like lost it. And so from that moment on, and then she laughed, and then I laughed, and it was her cousin's car seat. It wasn't hers, or her daughter's. But ever since then, and then it was like there was this tension. Then we ended up about a year later or so getting together, and then when we got together, it was the conversation was more like, when are we having kids, than anything else. It wasn't like there was no courting period. We knew. We just knew.
Oh my gosh. So when she said she got you, like she knew that you were checking to see like if it was her kids because you were interested.
Oh, yeah.
Is that what you mean? Okay.
Yeah, she was super witty and super quick on her feet. She managed a barbecue restaurant actually like half a mile from the gym. And so I would go down there and have ribs and hang out and stuff. But so she was like always talking to everyone, and she was just very quick on her feet. And
Okay.
man, she got me then. And then our whole relationship was these lightning fast jokes. And half the time I wouldn't even say anything and she would laugh, or she wouldn't say anything and I would laugh. I mean, it was this unspoken wit that was just incredible. It just ended up that we both ended up single at the same time. And then I got a lot of gumption one night, and we had this sweatsuit dance party thing for one of our friends' birthdays. And I just laid one on her, and then it's like, "Okay, well, we're together." And she's like, "No, we're not." And I was like, "Yeah, we are." And then it took us a few weeks to like semantically sort through that, but we did. And then that was it.
Wow. So then
Yeah.
like you're saying it wasn't into courting, it was straight into like, what's our
Yeah, I mean,
plan for having kids?
yeah, I mean, there was a time period when that was the years get weird for me then. It was probably 2012, maybe 2013, 2012. And then we got engaged in 2013, married in 2014, first daughter 15, second daughter 16, 17, something else, left LA 18. So I mean, it was like every year we were
Something's
doing something.
happening. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Do you remember did you have like a actual first date, or was it just like because you hung out so much, it just eventually you were dating and that's what it was?
Yeah, it was, there was that time where I told you I laid one on her at
Yeah.
that Sweats dance party. And then there was kind of the awkwardness in the neck. Because for me, I wasn't shopping around. Like I wasn't trying to find some random person, right? So I was like, well, this is my person, clearly. And then we just kind of sorted through that. And then it was just because we knew each other very well. There wasn't, we didn't have to have those beginning conversations.
Yeah.
And then it was just, all right, well, here we go.
What's one of your like most favorite memories from those early times together? Or maybe it won't be your favorite, but the first one that comes to mind.
The first time I heard her laugh, it was dismantling. It I speak about it all the time in what I write because I've never seen joy erupt from a person like it did from her. Like joy would come out of her and you felt like you were at a party for you. Like, wait a minute, this is like coming. It was crazy. It was just unbelievable to see it. And my whole time we were together, I was always trying to capture that, the magic. I was always trying to capture it. And so that's why I have so many videos and so many photos because I was mesmerized by her energy, by how she was in the world, by just the love that she would show and the joy that she would show up with. It was like, I couldn't believe it. And so I always tried to capture it with my phone because like I was just spellbound by the whole thing. But I heard her laugh and I was like, I'm done. It's over. And that was before we were actually dating. It was like when I would see her, in our program, whatever, it was just, I still remember it.
Yeah.
Yeah, all those things were just, they never leave my head or my heart or, just.
Could you, when like before she passed away, thinking it back to those early years, would you have been able to communicate it this way? Like, did you know in that moment you're like, oh my gosh, it was definitely your laugh that got me. Oh, it was definitely this that got me. Like, were you as
Oh
aware of
yeah.
it as you are with reflecting on it?
I mean, I was aware of it. I knew it was very obvious when it was like like a switch flipped on in me that it was never going to flip off. Like it flipped on and it fell off the wall. Like there was no turning it off. Um, Now, of course, it, I would say it's more of a cherished thing than it was then because she was here. So I would hear her laugh again. And then it wasn't like I was trying to capture them, but it's definitely become like immortalized in my life.
Do you have videos of it?
Oh yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah, I have two Instagram accounts. So I have one of them is just videos of her and I put after she passed, I posted, I don't know. It was like 130 or 140 different videos. And I just
Wow.
like what turned out to be poetry. I'm not a poet, but that's what came out of me. And but they just video after video after video after video. It's like a memory book. And my kids and I will scroll through it every night and watch videos of her and just which has been the greatest thing ever, because I
Yeah.
don't know what I would do without that.
Yeah.
I don't know. And I realize that a lot of people's experience is that, and I don't know what I would do without all of those memories and, you know, I don't
I
know.
mean, obviously that's beautiful for you, but incredible for your daughters.
Yeah. And that's something I'm starting to realize now because in the beginning, and it's probably still in the beginning, I guess, of losing
Hmm.
someone, you're just trying to survive. I mean, every day, like I feel it today. I'm just trying to make it through the day. And sometimes it's about the hour, sometimes it's 10 minutes, or like I just gotta make it like until we get into that room. Or I mean, it sounds crazy to say that, but it's the truth. And so it's anything to keep my like from my world from collapsing, and the writing for me and the videos and the photos they save me every single day. And then other people will like say, hey, that was so fun, or I remember that or whatever. And then it's like you get to relive those times. And I don't know what I would do without it.
Yeah. I mean, that's an amazing part of all the work you put in of taking all those videos and
Yeah,
during
and it's so
your
funny
life,
because
right?
it it doesn't feel like work. Just it's I was just that's what I would do. It was funny because in the first part of the relationship, she's like, "Why are you videotaping?" Like, and I'd be like, "Because like I was like I just compulsively couldn't stop doing it." And then eventually she just knew, and it was like we just played into it. And I have some photos of like me taking a picture of her taking a picture of me. So she was doing it to me and I was doing it to her.
Yeah.
But
In the early years,
uh
maybe before you got married,
yeah.
um, outside of hearing her laugh for the first time, can you think of any stories or moments that you shared together that really hold an incredibly special place in your heart?
This is hard because she was sick for 5 years, and there was a
Mm,
lot of memories
yeah.
that that are front loaded in my mind. The ones that not the ones that you want to remember type of deal.
Yeah.
Not that you don't want to remember them, but you'd rather remember really good memories than the ones where she's sick. Um, you're gonna make me cry.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. It happens every time I talk about her. I remember being in Santa Monica on Main Street at this car wash. And this is so funny. And I had a big truck, and I was washing my truck, and she was with me. And it was right when we first started dating. Like it was, I don't even think people knew yet. I mean, it was very new. And we were because we ran a fitness program like in Southern California, like people kind of knew like who we were. And I remember one of my buddies saw me with her, like at the car wash. So it's obvious, like, what are they doing together type deal. And I was so proud in that moment that like our relationship was like known in the world. And it's funny because he ended up marrying a woman, and they had kids, and they still live in California. And I brought this up to him about, I don't know, 3 months ago. And he was like, I remember that. And I knew something was different about you two. And he said he knew back then. And I was like, man, what are the chances that little, I mean, it was a moment, it wasn't like this thing. It was a moment. But I'll never forget it. And it was like, I could feel that pride for our relationship all the way. I mean, I still feel it, and it never stopped.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that is like, I remember it like it's yesterday. And that was 2012, maybe 2011. I don't remember when it was, but um,
That's
yeah, there
really,
was
really
tons of
beautiful.
things. Um, and some of the things are um coming back, I've noticed as the grief maybe like dissipates, as the shock kind of like
Yeah.
leaves a little bit. There's room for other things.
I want to go back to talking about your early years, if that's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I want to ask a story about when you two, I don't know if there was a proposal or if you decided to just get married. What was that story for the two of you?
So so I moved in. So I moved in with her sister, her cousin, and we had a dog.
You moved in with all of them?
Yeah, yeah, smart guy, right? Um,
It's
it's real
brave.
classic, and
It's
she's
brave.
8 years younger than me, so it's like good move, man, good
Yeah.
move. So anyways, move in, and then so I decided that I was going to propose to her on a Sunday morning. That's what I decided. So my suit was hanging in the garage, which is below our bedroom at the time. It was in an apartment. Went down there, came upstairs. My wife, not a morning person, like not at all. I go up in the room. I get on one knee, have the ring, whatever, and trying to wake her up. And she like kind of wakes up, just like one eye deal. And I asked her, and she was still like half asleep. I thought she was awake, but she wasn't. So I asked the question, will you marry me? And there's no answer for like, I don't know. It felt like 10 years. It was so long. And I was like, hey, babe, what, like, are you asleep? Trying to figure out like what she was gonna say if
Are
she
you shutting me down or what's happening
explode my
here?
life and I was gonna have to move out or, whatever. And she said yes. And but yeah, that was how it went. Yeah.
So did like kind of wake her up startled? Was she like, oh wait, what? Like what happened?
Yeah, she then woke up and it was like she kind of figured out what was actually happening. And I thought she was aware at first. Apparently she was, but wasn't, it's like in that like limbo stage. But yeah, so it was all fine. But I was stressed. I was like, oh no, what did I do?
For those 10 years when she wasn't responding, you were
Yeah,
stressed?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And it may have been 19 seconds, I don't know, but it felt forever. Forever.
I feel like it does whenever you put yourself out there like that. Like it's even if it's just 3 seconds, because it's not
Oh,
instant, you're like, oh my gosh, this is way too long. What's wrong?
yeah.
Right.
Well, and it was funny because the day before, no one really knew. I told my best friend, and he goes, I'll never forget. He goes, what if she says no? And I was like, I never even thought about that. Like I never even thought about it. It did never cross my mind until he said that, which I'm glad he said that, but she didn't say no, so
So it's okay.
it was
So
okay.
it's okay.
Yeah.
So then what was it like between engagement and your wedding day? What was that?
Um, trying to think of where we were at. It was fine. We just it was more of when do we want to have this wedding and where do we want to have it? So we got we got engaged December 15th. We got married October 11th. So our anniversary is here in a few days.
Hmm.
Uh, but we were getting married in another city. We were living in Los Angeles. We got married in Kansas City, where I'm from.
Okay.
So there was some pretty significant planning that had to happen between. So it was more of like we didn't want to get married in the summer. It was hot because we were going to get married on a farm. So we had to wait till the fall. So basically, it was just the planning and everything was kind of status quo. We knew we were going to get married. We actually got married 3 months pregnant.
Okay.
We were engaged first. Everyone was doing math, but
Who cares?
uh, we're right. But yeah. So we were just raring to go.
And was it a big wedding, a small wedding? What was it?
I don't remember how many people were there. It wasn't big. There was 100 or 120 there maybe. It was on a farm outside Kansas City. It was beautiful. I mean, it's just beautiful. It was funny. We I, we wanted to have a small wedding, but then you start putting people on paper, and it's like, wow, I feel like we didn't invite anyone. We're at 100, and then we were like, okay, let's get remarried on our 10th anniversary and have like a few people, like 10 people, you know. But we, we made our 10th anniversary, but not much longer. So we didn't get to do that. But um, I'm just happy we made it.
Yeah.
It was not a huge wedding, but it was beautiful. When you walk out of the barn and it's dark out and there's the string lights and the dance floors outside and it's cobblestones. I mean, it was beautiful.
And do you remember the first moment you saw her that day? I don't know if it would have been a first look or walking down the aisle, or what was the first moment you saw her that day?
Yeah, it was I I believe it was when she was walking. Well, it's kind of like on a hillside. but there was Niall. It was probably then. It was the first time I saw her. I don't think I saw her before. Yeah, I don't think I saw her before that. And yeah, it was just tears. There's a photo of me seeing her. And I mean, it was amazing.
Does the
It was just,
photo
and
say it
it
all?
was funny because I I thought marriage was a destination. I was wrong. She didn't want to get married before we met. And then so we both kind of came to the center of that and realized that it wasn't ever really about the rings or the legal marriage. It was about choosing each other every day.
Mhm.
And that was what created our love. It wasn't that we were married, it was that we just kept choosing each other regardless of whatever the outside circumstances were.
Yeah.
And and that was what we found in our love. And that was it.
Can you tell a story in a situation where, outside of her illness and everything you went through that, because that's a lot of choosing that you had to do every single day. Well, I guess you could argue otherwise, but a moment in time when you were like, this was a day we really had to choose each other because it was a hard day or it was a hard moment.
Well, I can tell you probably the hardest moment we ever had. It was during her illness. Can I tell you that one?
Absolutely.
Okay, so in the beginning of it, there was she had a surgery in August of 2020 to remove a mass from her vulva. Um, After the surgery, the doctor told me it was cancerous. I got the privilege of telling her it was cancerous, which is the worst thing ever. You don't want to have to tell your person about that, but that's the situation we were presented with. After that surgery, when she was healing, she had a reoccurrence on her hip and her left hip, and the lymph node grew to the size of a grapefruit and burst through her skin, and was an open wound for a couple of years. And it was like I can't believe that her body could house such a thing. Um, and that was getting bad. And it was in that time when that thing was just growing. And we were sitting in our living room, I'll never forget, and we were talking about treatment. And I could see the pain. I mean, she couldn't really walk. She could not lay on her belly. She couldn't sit because the tumor, like it was really disruptive just to life in general. That has nothing to do with the pain. That has to do with the position and the shape of it. And we had to talk about treatment. And I was like, hey, we should think about chemotherapy and radiation. And she goes, I'm not doing it. And I looked at her and I was like, what do you mean you're not doing it? Like, look at what's happening to you. Like, look at your pain. Your pain is through the roof, because she was very big on wanting the integrative, um, holistic, type of treatment. And we were just losing pace, right? Doing that. We were losing pace to the tumors, and she wasn't going to budge. And I'm stubborn and she's stubborn. And we sat there, and this, what am I going to argue with my wife who's fighting stage 4 cancer over treatment? And so it was in that moment. I mean, it was grounds. Like, if I would have held the line, I think our marriage would have been done. I so I chose to, I guess you could say, lay my sword down and just say, okay, what do you want to do? And we decided that was one of the biggest lessons I ever learned, was in that moment, that it's more valuable to be on the same side of the table and be unified with your person than it is to be right.
Yeah.
Because being right can be so destructive. And in that moment, we came to a decision that we were going to do this together, and we weren't gonna let cancer come between us and fight each other. We were gonna look at the problem from the same side of the table. And thank God for that, because that was us choosing each other. And because of that, we were able to find a path forward. It did include the treatments that I was talking about, but it was done in a way where she chose it. And said okay. But it was hard. It was hard. That's probably the hardest thing we ever went through.
Understandably so.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that.
Of course. I just loved her. And that was it.
I just, there's, never mind, I won't say it, but I think it's just beautiful. I can always say it's beautiful because it is beautiful, but I feel like I say it all the
Yeah,
time.
it
It's
is.
so beautiful. It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is. Do you have any moments from your wedding day that specifically stick out to you as like, the most cherished memory of that day?
I remember seeing her just so beautiful. That the moment when you see it so much on it's that moment when the groom sees the bride. It's like it's experiencing that is like this just flood of emotion in the best way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, that is the biggest thing. I mean, it was just magic.
That's wonderful. I love that. I was going to say, I see a lot of the things that you say about your relationship, a lot of my husband and you, in the sense of like choosing, like the not being right, and it's better to be on the same side. And
Yeah,
there's been conversations like that where we've had differing opinions about certain things. And
sure.
I will give it to him that he's generally the one who goes, okay, whatever you want. And when
Yeah,
he speaks about it, it's not, she chose this, it's we chose this.
yeah,
And it is a really powerful thing, and he humbles me all the time because I'm like, you did better than me on that one, thank you.
yeah. But it is.
So
It's a beautiful thing to choose someone over. I mean, that's what marriage is. That's what you should do. Like, you choose them over everything, and that's the point. And there's a lot of times where I think things get in the way of that. Like a business might get in the way of that, or like thing. It's like you got to choose your person,
hmm
and we learned that, and so we did.
yeah,
And I was just very blessed in choosing a person that chose me, because I realized that if you choose someone, they don't choose you.
yeah,
There's no
very easy
reason
to
there.
take advantage of.
Yeah. So I
hmm
was blessed in having her, and she chose me. So that was amazing.
Can you tell a story in which you recognize that she chose you, similar to how you chose her in the treatment story?
Well, we left Los Angeles, and I was kind of um, exited the gym that we had out there, and she was teaching out there, and she was having a good time teaching and was enjoying her job teaching, and she um, trusted me to go with me. Obviously, we had children at the time, but that that decision was not driven by her; it was driven by me. And we landed in Kansas on my parents' farm, and I had a real identity crisis with my life, trying to figure out who I was and what I was doing and all these things. And she was as loving and as amazing as a mother the whole time while I was going through all that. And in that season, I started to sort through those things, and then her health started to fail, um, and then I chose her, and we just kept going. But yeah, there was she always chose me. It was in every day. I mean, you could see it every day. And it was the best thing, because with that, I wasn't wanting for anything else.
Yeah,
If I knew she chose me, I was good. I could deal with anything. So I'll do anything. I don't care. Like, and that was the hardest part, I think, when she's gone, is like, now what are you gonna do? And that's been a real thing to figure out.
yeah. I mean, I can imagine. I can imagine it's been huge to figure that out.
Yeah, because you spend all your life trying to find somebody to put everything you have into, to to love and to cherish and all those things, and then you do, and it's like the biggest win ever. And then she goes away, and it's like, okay, now what?
I wish I had
Yeah.
great words to say after that, but
Yeah.
I just absolutely 100%. I can imagine it's been
Yeah.
like one of the hardest thing you'll probably ever have to go through, a lot
Yeah.
amongst aside from losing her in general.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, absolutely. There's not like good words to say after that other than yes.
Oh, I wish there were.
Right? Can you share with me when you had kids, what it was like for you watching her become a mother?
Yeah. So she was a mother all the way through her life. She was a mother since she was a little kid. She would just she took care of people her whole life. And when she had her first one, um, there was a moment where we used a midwife, who is a very dear friend now. Um, and I remember when Raffi had Rue, um, she was pushing and pushing and pushing and just couldn't quite get her out. And then there was this moment where I was looking at Raffi and I was up kind of by her head and she went away. Like obviously she's still there, but she left. It was very obvious. Like she left. And then this like lioness roar came out of her, like I've never heard before. And it was like the most primal. It was like if you were in a dark cave and you were cold and scared and a lion roared, that was what it sounded like. It was like you just it was exhilarating and terrifying all at the same time. And that was when our daughter came out. And it was like it was unfreaking I was at that moment I was like, as men, we are nothing compared to this type of women. Like we got nothing. Yeah, and it just it just such power. And if you talk to people about her, like they'd say the same thing. Like she was the nicest and most loving person, but if you mouthed off, she'd punch you in the face. And that's no joke. But yeah, both of our girls. It was that way. It was just such powerful experiences. It is unbelievable.
Today's episode of A Love Story, the podcast, is brought to you by the Counseling Support Center. At the core of the mission of the Counseling Support Center is a commitment to delivering comprehensive and affordable online support to any individual in need. The Online Counseling Support Center was started with the overarching goal of providing accessible, affordable, and responsive counseling services. These services are brought through the supervision of qualified and insured graduate student professionals and fully licensed therapists. The center is able to provide access to affordable counseling while guaranteeing an exceptional level of skilled support. To get support, please contact the Counseling Support Center at thecounselingsupportcenter.ca or call them at 1-800-716-6846, or you can also email them at info@thecounselingssupport.ca. The Counseling Support Center acknowledges the Indigenous peoples who have long cared for the lands on which we live and work. They honor their history, contributions, and ongoing connections to their territories. They also welcome and celebrate the diversity within our community. I think it's a beautiful thing as a female to hear a male's perspective of watching a woman give birth.
I mean, yeah, there's just nothing like it. I can't believe it even happens. Like you watch it happen, you're like, how does that even happen? And
Mm.
then this person that just sent a person out of themselves is like up walking around. Like, what is going on? I mean, it's insane. And I taught people like how to squat, how to move their bodies. Like I know about anatomy. And I'm like, that's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
That is freaking, it is it, it is a wonder of the world, and it was incredible. And she was just the mother, just the quintessential mother. It was she loved it so much. I mean, she embroidered mama on stuff, and she embroidered smiley faces on stuff, and it just she was just the mom of the century.
Is there a story that's really close to your heart about her that you love to share or you never get the opportunity to share?
Hmm. I mean, there's so many stories I share about her. I'm trying to think of one that I don't share. Um,
Doesn't have to be one that you've never shared. I was just saying if it's one you've never shared or one that you share all the time, but it's your favorite one to share. Either one's totally cool.
well, there's one that's really incredible, and I mean, there are so many that are incredible, but she, so in her last, it was probably last 7 days of life. Hospice was here. She's in a hospice bed, can't get out of bed. Just you can imagine she's, just very, very ill, very thin. And for about the last 4 days, she was alive. There was no communication. I think the cancer had gotten to her neurologically, and there just wasn't any communication. But before that, we were going to bed, and my bed was, 6 feet from her bed type of deal. Um, and she was praying for our friend. And I was like, who was having some health issues, and he was in the hospital, and but she's sitting there, and like hospice is here, things are not good, and she's praying for our friend. I was like, the heart of this woman, like she's praying for somebody else, like what. And in the same probably day, this thing shows up, and it's like this ceramic, um I don't know, it looks like a little vase or something shows up, and she had ordered some, um what are they called, scented oils, what are they called, the
Essential oils?
essential oils. Yeah, she
Okay.
ordered something, some kind of spray, but this little ceramic vase thing comes. And I was like, babe, what is this thing? Like, what did you get? And she was like, oh, that's for you. It's like, what is it? She's like, it's a salt inhaler. It's to help your asthma. And I was like, I got it for you. What? Uh, like, she's like, yeah, you need to use it. And I was like, yeah, what are you talking about? Like, her heart is just so big that even in these last days, she's trying to help me. She's trying to help our friend. She's praying for other. It was like, you are something else. And that was just her. I mean, she just always was taking care of everyone. Always.
Wow.
I was just
How
lucky to have her take care of me.
how was that for you in a time when you were trying to take care of her?
Um, it was great. I mean, it makes you feel loved,
Yeah.
but it also breaks your heart. You know, it's just also sad at that time, but it was her. I mean, that's how she was. She was always concerned with other people. I would tell her, like, listen, you got to stop taking care of other people. And I know God was like, man, you got to stop telling her that because this is what she's here for, And so yeah, she was always doing that.
I want to ask you about, well, two things, but one of them is with your book that obviously talks about, called Thank You Cancer, a story of loss, love, loss, and hope. And you said you wrote that book. Did you guys decide to write that book together, or was that something after she passed that you decided to do?
So about 2021 or so, she was diagnosed in 2020. About 2021, we would talk about, hey, we want to write a book. We want to tell our story. We want to bring light into this dark space. that is this journey, right? And we just never really got to it. We did a couple sort of podcast episodes, and we both of us wrote the entire time about it in our own way.
About the treatments and everything. And
Yeah,
okay.
just kind of she would journal about it, and then I would journal about it, and we didn't really ever talk about, but we knew we were writing, and so we never got around to the book. After she passed, I was trying to anchor myself to reality, just trying to get the angst out of me. And I started writing, and it was just simply to find sanity, and somewhere in that, I remembered that we wanted to write a book. And so I was like, okay, maybe I could like put this thing together somehow. So I took, I looked at all of her entries that she wrote through her journey, all of them that I could find. And I took most of them, not all of them, and I put them in a timeline. So what you have is like a very broken story of 5 years, right? And then I took my writings from the same time and I dropped those into the same timeline. So I have kind of like a patchwork quilt of sorts that's missing some pieces, but it's talking in the moment about our journey from two points of view, which is very unique, right?
Yeah.
So you'll hear her expression of what treatment was, and then you'll hear my conversation, and they come at different angles, they talk about different things, but they're about the same event. So then I went through as a narrator and kind of laced them all together, and then added, a patch here, some context there, a little story here, whatever. And so what you have is you have a very informal storytelling session from the two of us. So it would be very much like you, I, and her sitting around a campfire, and we're just telling you our story, and then I'll stop and she'll start talking. There's no she said, he said, like he replied, she replied. That's not in the book. There's nothing like that. It's delineated in that my text is in normal font, and then her text is in bold.
Okay.
So when she starts speaking, it's in bold. And then there were, I would say, 40 to 50 times that a solution would just show up out of nowhere. And so those we call our Jesus moments. And I mean, there's probably 50 of them. There's so many. And so in the book, here's the book. In the book, there's see that right there, that
Oh
dark,
yeah. Yep.
that's Jesus moment. So
Okay.
there at the end of every Jesus moment, there's a Bible verse that basically proves that that was something that was written in the Bible, more or less. So it's a connection to the Bible. So you really have three voices telling a story: her voice, my voice, and God's voice telling one story. And it's a really beautiful thing. Can I tell you one of the Jesus moments?
Absolutely.
Okay, so there are so many, it's laughable. Like it's insanity. But there was um there was a blood test she was looking for, and she couldn't find it. And if there was someone who could find something, it was her. Like she's very resourceful, very good with finding stuff. And we were living in Kansas City at the time, and she was looking for this blood test and couldn't find it. Well, about that time, I was putting up another GoFundMe, which is second or third, I don't know which one, just asking for help because financially you can't afford cancer care in this country. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Um, I put up this GoFundMe. A mentor of mine for like the past 20 years shares it. And a guy so I go to a men's Bible study on Tuesdays in Kansas City. The guy that responds to me is in the Bible study. He's been going for years. I've been going for years. We're sitting right next to each other. And he says, hey, he just saw the GoFundMe. I didn't mention the blood test in the GoFundMe, but he says, "Hey, I'm a doctor. We have an office. Here's all the stuff we have in this long list." He mentions the blood test, and I was like, "What?" And so I was like, "Raph, look at this." And so literally the next day, we go to his office to get this blood test. Get the blood test, amazing. They have to send it to Greece to get the results. He messages me the next day, says, "Hey man, it's $8,000." And I was just like, man, I don't have $8,000. I got
Oh my God.
I'm $8,000 short. Like
Yeah.
We don't have any more, barely paying for rent. Like it just cancer just takes all your money. And
Oh my God.
so we don't have it. So and then he goes, he's thought about it for a little bit and he said, "Hey, we have a friends and family program or something. So it's $6,300." And I was like, "Hey man, thank you. We don't have it. Like okay, give me some time and I'll figure it out." Right? We have no answer. I have no money. Raffi's phone dings. One of her best friends messages and says, "Hey, our church has been talking about your family. We decided that we were going to give you our monthly tithe for this month." You guess how much it was?
Please don't tell me it was $6,300.
$6,300.
Oh my God. Like on the mark.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
yeah, it's the same number.
That's
And
wild.
these people, they don't know each other. Like they don't, no one knows that we had the blood test. No one knows any of this stuff. This is, and we're sitting in the same room, and it's like we look at each other like, you can't tell me that's not
Can't
God.
make
Like,
this up.
no way.
Wow.
And there are so many of those. And the craziest part is we would, when we were going to the cancer center in Atlanta to have treatment, we would look at each other and laugh, literally laugh out loud and say, "I wonder when Jesus is going to show up this time," because it was so predictable. And it was in the craziest ways. So in our story, that's why these are in our book, because it is literally a stack of undeniable evidence that he's lighting our path. It is, read the book, you can't deny it. And there's so many examples. Like this thing is riddled with there's so many dark spots in this book. Look at them. There's so many. It's all throughout the book. It's unbelievable. And they're like
Yeah.
that. Like how do
Yeah.
you can't deny that. And so it was, as I was kind of putting, the book together, um, most of the text in the book was already written, like I said, because in the moment, like if something happens to you right now and you write about it, it's got like whatever words you write have teeth, they have emotion, and they're like, they're gritty. But if you recalled what happened to you today, like in 10 years, you'd be like, yeah, you wouldn't really describe it in the best way. Most of the book
Yeah.
is in the and it's really raw and authentic, and it's really cool. And it really shows you how beautiful a person she was. And that's my favorite part. People message me and say that they feel like they have a friend,
Mm. Like
or
they've
they feel
gotten to
like
know
she's
her.
talking to them. It's like
Yeah.
what a cool thing, and that's been really beautiful.
So, I mean, it's a gift to you. It's a gift to her. It's a gift to the world. It's a gift to your daughters. Like it's,
Yeah, it's been, and that was, I never expected that. And that's really been a very healing thing, having people, because not a lot, we shared a lot, but you know, I I'm not really a complainer. She wasn't a complainer, so no one really knows the things you should know. Like because she would show up as a joyful person. She would walk into a place and you would have no idea the amount of bandages she had on, or that she has a tumor. Like you would never know because of how she carries herself. And I was like, I think people should know because she's just a phenomenal human. I mean, it was just unbelievable. She was just couldn't believe it.
I think it's incredible that you put that book together. Like, especially in the time frame that you put it together,
Well,
because
it was always, oh, I forgot to tell you. So it probably took 6 months, I would say, from the time I started to the time the book arrived at our house. Um, but the other day, so I had this feeling, I'd say like this critic that was chirping in my ear the whole time I was writing the book. just negative things, just saying negative things like, oh, you didn't do this good enough. This isn't how you should have done it. Like just all the negative chatter.
Hmm.
And I couldn't shake it. And it'd been there for 6 months. And then I was cooking dinner and this little voice in my head said, hey, go in your closet and look in this little stack of papers and just flip through that. So I was like, all right. So there's like pasta on the stove or whatever. I go in the bedroom, get in my closet, and there's this little journal that I haven't seen of hers before. And I'm like flipping through it, and it says Dreams and Visualizations, February 6th, 2022. And it says, Danny and I are on stage talking about our book that we wrote about our experiences. And I was like, thank you for that.
So
So
that was
3 months
after
ago,
you'd written the book and gotten it all delivered and
it's already,
everything
yeah. Yeah.
that you found that.
Well, it's after I wrote it and after the the original like order has been out in the world. So people have them.
Yeah.
I'm taking them back,
Yeah.
you know?
That's incredible. It's
Yeah.
wild those little nudges that come and tell us to go do these things and the
Yeah.
value that comes from them. If there was one thing you wanted everybody to know about you and Raffi and the love that you shared together, what would it be?
Hmm. Hmm. One thing. I think there are 4 words in the one of the first pages of the book. And it says, Raph, we were magic. And there's just something about her. It was just an us, but for me, it was her. But that was, just feel so blessed to have had her.
You can tell by the way you speak about her. In all of the Instagram posts I've seen, and I haven't read the book. It's on my list of to-dos. I want to read it really badly. But of all of the ways that you speak about her and the posts that you make, like you can tell just how much she meant to you. And I think it's one of those beautiful things knowing, and now speaking to you, because I think many people can speak in past tense about how wonderful somebody was. But based on what I'm hearing from you, you even recognized it then in present tense,
Yeah.
which is a really, not everybody does. Not everybody recognizes what they have before it's not there.
Yeah, but also I I wasn't perfect either. Like there were so many mistakes,
Oh, I'm sure.
you know, um, in hindsight, but it's, just what floors me is that our love didn't stop. Just hadn't stopped. Like I still love her. Still, it's crazy. And
Yeah.
I don't think that'll ever change.
No.
And that was really a trip. And that's, you know, it's crazy. I don't know. It's been such an experience because I thought death was the end and it's not. And it may sound so dumb, but I, my favorite thing to do is talk about her and write about her. And that's all I can see myself doing, which is crazy because she's not here, but I can't imagine doing anything else. I don't know.
Yeah. I I I I don't know what to say about that. I think you have me very speechless. I'm not usually very speechless, but you do, and not because I don't not because it's hard to talk about, but because you've said everything that can be said about these pieces that you're saying, and the things that you say are so
Yeah.
powerful. Um,
Yeah, I try to convey all the things that are inside all the time. I'm always looking for words to spill out what's inside.
yeah,
And it's been such a a weird joy to share about her. I couldn't imagine my life without sharing about her. I don't even she says it and it's in the book that in her words that we wanted to bring light to all this. Let all this talk about cancer and all this talk about all this pain and all this, but bring light to it and bring hope to it. And so that's what I'm doing. And I'll keep doing it.
Yeah. If there was maybe one piece of advice you could give to somebody in a relationship, what would it be?
I think the best thing I ever did in our relationship was I wrote a letter to her. I wrote a death letter to her as if I died.
Mm,
So my last words to her, if I was to not show up tomorrow. And I tell you that because what it made me do was it changed me. It changed my heart to my wife, changed my heart to my kids. It changed how I showed up in my life. It made me more present. It made me more focused on the things that mattered. And because of that, it just enriched our love. And so what I would tell someone is with all that context, I would say you need to invest in the moments you have because when you lose your person, the amount of regret that shows up is it's like drinking through a fire hose and it's very uncomfortable and there's no controlling it. And our only insurance against that is our dedication, our intention on showing up in the moments we have with our people.
yeah.
That's all we have
Yep.
because I promise regret's coming. I mean, I was with her every day for 5 years while we battled, and I still there are things I'm like, man. But these are loops in your head. There's no answer for these things,
Hmm.
and our only we live in this distracted world, and it's like we got to focus on our people.
Yeah. I think that's I mean, and again, not that I've experienced what you've experienced, but in other experiences is if you're not present and then that time passes, you look back like, oh my gosh, I was not present enough. I was too distracted with XYZ, whatever. Even if you are present in that time, you're still going to go, oh my gosh, I should have done this more. But at
Well,
least you have the ability to say, but I was as present as I possibly could have been in that moment.
yeah, because I would tell you that you know things go away, right? I lost 2 jobs, lost a house, lost income, moved a bunch of times, lost all these things. And most of that happened because I chose my family. And I wouldn't take any of those decisions back. I wouldn't
Hmm.
take any jobs back. I wouldn't take any of the money back. I wouldn't take the house back. None of it. Um, there's just nothing that takes priority over your people. And so invest the time you have because there's so many. I mean, what's life expectancy? 80? She got 35 years. If you had done the math, I'd be the one that's dead by life choices. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
So, how much time do any of us have? Not as much as we think.
Yeah.
And so, either play the game like you mean it or not. I mean,
Yeah. I have one last question I want to ask for you, Danny, and that is, what does love mean to you?
first thing that came to mind was her name and home. Grace comes to mind. God comes to mind. There's nothing that will ever replace the laughing. Like if you laugh with your person, you should try to laugh because that's like, man, it's like nothing better than that. And
Mhm.
at least for us.
I do think that most people would say that in a happy relationship, that if you can't laugh together, like you're going to struggle.
I mean, we could like she so we laughed all through the cancer. Like she could barely walk. I mean, barely walk. And she would like step up on a curb and it would take forever. And she would say, parkour, like, like, and we would laugh. I mean, she was, it was the 3 days before she passed, and she wasn't really responding, and there was no talking from her, and no real movements from her. And we're laughing, and I was talking to her, and made a joke. I was like, "Oh, use that effing inhaler," and she like surged like she was laughing. Like and there was no, I mean, there was no communication, but it was like I could see like that she laughed, and it was just the humor was just incredible. And that, man, you just, I don't know what to say.
Thank you for sharing so much
Sure,
of your story of you and Raffi with us, with me, um, and those that listen. I I'm incredibly grateful for it, and I am honored to be a piece of. I know that this for you, this isn't just sharing a story. It's therapeutic. It's speaking about someone that you don't get to speak to anymore. I know there's a lot more to it for you, and so I'm really honored that you were open to sharing that with me. So thank you
sure.
very much.
Yeah.
Thank you
It's
very
it's an
much.
honor. I think um, there's nothing I'm prouder of in my life.
Thank you for joining me for a love story. In my conversation with Danny today, there were so many pieces that he spoke about that were incredible tips for somebody going through grief. And I know for him, it wasn't meant as tips, it was meant as life lessons that he's learned, things that have empowered him to grow and to move forward while carrying his grief with him. Although they were not part of the love story part, I wanted to include them in the podcast. So following this recording, there will be little clips of pieces of things that Danny said throughout the episode that are incredibly beautiful. If you want more of Danny, please make sure to find him on Instagram with Momentum with Danny. And don't forget to check out their book, Thank You Cancer.
I was talking to somebody about this today who also lost their someone, and um, I I think I think what would happen, I guess, I don't know, I haven't thought about it, but I know that when we had our first daughter, my heart was exploding. It was like, this is the greatest thing ever. We have a child, and then another one comes along, and it's like, wait a minute, but I love this one. How will I love this one the same? And your heart's like, this is my job. I just expand, right? I just house the thing. So I would imagine that it would be somewhat similar in this instance if you came to a place where you were to meet someone else. This person is not replacing your person.
Mm-hmm.
The person that you lost always holds a place in your life, in your heart, and your heart would just grow to bring in the other person. Now, the other person would have to have the capacity to understand some grief because it's a thing, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that person is a part of your life. But I would imagine that your heart would do it. Now, whenever it heals and all that stuff is another story. But I know that when I had kids, I was like, whoa, that was crazy. That I was able to, like, my heart was able to expand into this experience. And I would assume that that's kind of thematically what would happen if someone else were to come about, and not but not that I'm there at all,
Mm-hmm.
but I would assume that would be somewhat similar.
That's a really good way of putting it.
Like the space that she holds in my heart is like, it's like I gave it to her. Like I was like, this is yours. I mean, we didn't say that, but it's there,
Mm-hmm.
and um there will never be a day on this earth where I won't share about her. So I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
If in moving forward, if something changes, and someone shows up, it's like, well, I still have this rich experience that is in my life, and there's no getting around it, you know?
Yeah. It's a
So,
piece that someone else, like you said, a piece that someone else has to have the
yeah.
capacity to be okay with.
Because
Absolutely.
I think at that point, it's not a competition, right? You're not competing for space. Like, it's not like you're vying for approval or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's a different ball game, right? Um, that's what I think. Of course, I don't know anything about it, but that's just what I what I would imagine would happen. Our situation was, there's like a 5 year decline, right? She fought for 5 years and just
Mm-hmm.
kind of slowly, you know, 3 or 4 laps around the track, attacking the cancer, attacking her, us attacking it back. It just was just wearing on her so much, and so is interesting because I didn't know anything about grief like at all. I was so disconnected from it, but I realize now that we grieved in the time that she was alive a lot, for our life. And so, when she passed, we had been grieving for a long time. And, so it's just been a journey. And I realize how different grief is for everyone. And that's why I share, because I don't, nobody's got a handle on it.
Mm-hmm.
I just rather share about it because it feels better than holding it all in.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's one of the incredible things about social media is I think about people who didn't have access to this before. And I mean,
Yeah.
like there was groups and things like that, and that's great, but lots
Yeah.
of people had nobody and nowhere to let it out, and they just had to sit with it. My
Those of us that have relationships, right?
hmm,
You, if you listen to someone speak about their life, they speak about their person all the time, like throughout the whole day. That's everything they do. They're speaking about my husband, my wife, my girlfriend, but they're always right. But then now, like in my seat, when I bring it up, it's like people don't want to make me sad. And then it's like they don't want to talk about it. And then that just creates distance because now it really feels like I'm on the outside. You know what I'm saying?
mm-hmm,
And that's
yeah,
really hard because it's people like tiptoeing around. Like, listen, you can't make me more sad. Like
yeah.
so that it's just weird. It's just a weird space.
Nothing you
I was,
say is gonna make it worse than it already was.
yeah, I
Like
mean,
that's what they when people are talking to you.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
And it's all well intentioned,
yeah, absolutely.
but it's really hard because it's so distancing.
Yeah,
It really, I learned a lot about, relationship in it, because in the beginning, let's say we were married for 10 years, we were together 12, she fought for 5. So almost half our relationship was fighting cancer. So it's really hard because it was like the first half of our relationship would be like the relationship that you would think about, like romance, kids, like all that stuff. And the second half was like no romance, illness, and so that, but there's still like the marriage, there's still the relationship, there's still you still need intimacy, right? And
yeah.
that's where like things got like they expanded, right?
To say I know that was one thing so with the other podcasts that we run, we do different awareness months, and one of the ones that we did last year was childhood cancer awareness.
Oh,
And that was one of the things some of the parents who shared that had gone through loss shared was that one of the things that they want the most is for people to actually ask them about the person they've lost, because people are
yeah,
so afraid to. People are so afraid. They mentioned that my kid died, and people are like, "Oh, okay, how's yesterday?" And it's
it
like,
is. Yeah, and it's like it's weird because then what happens is as the person who receives that interaction, then I am like reassuring them that everything's okay.
mhm,
And it's like, no, this is like totally this the roles are reversed, and it's just weird thing.
yeah,
Um, and it's so that's why one reason why I just talk about it. It's like, listen, I'll just talk about it. And then whatever. If people don't want to talk about it, fine. I really don't care. But
Yeah.
At least it feels better to me,
Yeah. Well, that you're the only one that really matters for you
you know.
ultimately.
So
So,
yeah, but it's, in the survival mode that you end up in, it's really hard to think of anything. I remember my girls were asked me to um, tell them a funny story about Mama, like right after she passed, and I had nothing. I couldn't. My brain was just fried. I just couldn't. And
yeah.
and that's when the video thing started. I was like, oh, I could look at a video, and so, there's a lot has come of the video thing, and we did a whole collage on. I don't know if you've seen the Mama wall,
The which, sorry?
the Mama wall in our house.
No, I haven't. No.
So it's a picture of it's in our book, but so I had, like Shutterfly and like all these organizations that do pictures. One of them had a 90% off one time. And I was like, okay. So I sent them 750 pictures and they printed them off for $41.
Oh my gosh.
So you imagine like a stack.
Yeah.
So I cut them out and put them in a collage. So I've got like there's like these big like collage boards, and I put five of them on the wall in our living room,
Aw.
and it says Mama in like 12-inch letters above it, and there's like 600 pictures in a collage. So it's like, what was that? What was that? What was that? And then we can sit there and we can talk about all the things because my memory was just fried. I didn't have
Yeah.
it was just overloaded, just overwhelmed with all of it.
Yeah. I mean, you're still so early into it. I didn't
Yeah,
realize how
yeah,
recently she'd passed until obviously you just told me, but
yeah,
there's still I've not gone through anything like what you're going through, but there's still so much and there's no getting over it. There's no that's it's always going to be carried with you forever and always. It's just I think the probably the shock kind of
yeah,
like you're saying it comes down so that the memories of the other things can come back up, right? Like it's the
yeah.
grief doesn't go away, the pain doesn't go away. It's just like you can shift the things you're able to focus on
It is. It's like the
as it
way
goes.
best way have described or thought of to describe it was it kind of changes colors.
That's a really good way of saying it. Yeah.
Doesn't It's still here. The biggest hurdle I think is just the amount of sadness in every day. I'm just so sad every day.
Yeah.
Like, how do you when you wake up, you wake up in the morning, and it's like another day she's not here, and you're defeated already, and you haven't even got out of bed yet. I haven't even let the dog out yet, and I'm already like I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
Just that sadness is so heavy, and is it as the shock, I guess, recedes, it's the walking it out of like she's not here, like another day she's not here. It's really hard. And it doesn't stop.
No. Can I ask what helps you keep going? Like I'm sure your daughters are a big motivation, but is there
Yeah,
something
the
that
kids for
that
sure,
helps
especially in the
you?
beginning. Yes. What really has helped me, honestly, has been writing. I found many years ago that writing would make an more organization out of the mess that was inside, because it was something energetically happens when you write. When you put it on paper, you have to process it to put it down. It's
Mm-hmm.
like this storm in your mind or this storm in your heart. And I just write whatever. I'm not trying to be right. I'm just writing what I'm feeling. Um, and it's really helpful. And I've just done it every single day since she passed, and we're at almost 300 days. And I mean, that's where the book came from. And then also it's interesting because I spent a lot of time in the fitness world, a decade and a half. And um, after she passed, I didn't want to leave the house. I didn't want to be in the world. If my kids weren't here, I don't know that I would have left the house. You just don't want to.
Yeah.
So I knew I needed to be out in the world. I knew I needed to breathe fresh air and be in the sunshine and all those things. So I just decided to walk. I was like, I'm just going to walk. And I started doing that. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to get a weighted vest. I'm just going to walk with a vest. And because of the vest, it'll make your heart rate go up and it'll have some fitness benefits. What happened is yes, that happened, but also I got to pick my burden.
Mm,
I got to put on the burden when I wanted it, and then I got to take it off when I want. And I will tell you that there's not been one time that I've walked with that vest on, even through soreness or rain or anything that's come about, that I haven't felt lighter in my body, but my spirit feels lighter. And during that time, I really try to focus on grief. Like I'll play music that we listen to, like I'll try to be in it during
yeah.
that time. So like walking down the street crying type deal. And it's really helpful. I never
Yeah.
would have thought.
That makes me think of something that someone said to us once, and it was essentially that, but different. It was like life. This is going to be poorly worded, but there's shitty things happen in life, horrible things happen in life, but you still have to do life. And so it was like finding a time in your day, or even multiple times in your day, where that is your focus. Your focus is your grief or your pain or your sadness, and then when that time is up, you continue on with the day, and you can have another set aside time later, but it
Yeah.
allows your body to function in the in between times because you know that you have this time that is
Yeah.
dedicated to whatever
Yeah.
it is you're going through.
The way I describe it is like it's a container, right? It's a container that holds that focus
Yeah.
because with grief, there's no controlling it. It's like a gorilla that follows you around all day and just
Mm.
tackles you when it wants. Like you have nothing.
Yeah.
But if I can have some intentional time, I know I can control the intentional time.
Yeah.
Then that gives me just enough breath to where I can make it to, like you're saying, the next time.
Yeah.
And then when it comes and it comes after me, it's like, okay, fine. I'll just see it through and then, you know,
Yeah.
do it
Cuz
day. It's just day by day.
and I mean, obviously I don't want to speak this at you, but I'm sure a piece of it is if you've had this intentional time when it does hit in those random moments that you can't control, obviously it's going to hit whenever. Because you've already been able to let off some, it it's
Yeah,
it's not
it's
as heavy, maybe.
yeah,
I don't know.
it's also kind of like it helps me to also another way I think of grief is like really loud music that's playing and you can't turn it off. Like it doesn't matter like what you feel about it. Like you
Mm-hmm.
can't turn it off,
Mm-hmm.
but you can like move with it. I'm not saying
Mm,
you like, dance joyfully with it, but I'm saying you could move through space with it. You could like work with it. You like dancing with the music, but it's not a happy dancing, but it's like instead of being like, which sometimes that's what you feel like, you can move with it. And that's really, it's been helpful.
yeah.
I don't, but I can't tell you that, if like grief were like a huge dark cave next to you, that's just always going to be there and you're going to have to deal with it in your life. I don't know if I've moved through more of it than if I hadn't done this stuff,
Mm,
but I can tell you that I feel like I'm more present in my life because of those things that I do.
yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. That makes sense. I think I know that you've shared a lot of this kind of stuff on your social media, but I think that how much you're sharing this, I know that you're doing a lot of it for your own therapeutic, but I think that you're probably, I mean, I know that you're helping a lot of people. A lot of
Yeah,
people who have not learned how to process their own grief, who have been struggling through their own,
yeah, that
I
was
can
really
imagine.
surprising because I shared about her in it was a very self-serving way because I was doing it to help the angst that was inside of me. And that
Mm-hmm.
was all I was doing. It was just to get it out of me. But what's come of it is something completely different. It's people sharing together and, people helping each other. I'm not even involved. Like in the comments, people help each other. And it's such a beautiful thing. And it's like, hey, there's this space now where it's like, not that your grief's like it makes you belong. And it's
Mm-hmm.
beautiful because it feels like everywhere else, you kind of are an outcast,
Yeah.
which is weird to
Yeah.
say.
No, absolutely. I mean, my cousin's husband passed away last year, I think. And they had known that he had cancer and he had very low chance of survival. And I know when he passed, he ended up living for almost a year. Um, but when he passed, I know like that was the thing. I was like, I don't know if this is weird, but I know people that have lost their spouses if you want me to connect you to somebody, because it's hard to find people to connect with in
Very
that
hard.
regard. I'm sure, right? It's a hard
Yeah,
space.
there's
So,
been a few that have showed up in my life, like not through social media, but not very many,
mhm.
especially not any that are my age.
I was gonna say, especially when you're younger, right? I think she was like
Yeah.
early 30s when he passed. So
Yeah,
it's
it's
like,
but I tell you what, it's shocking how many young people lost their spouse.
mhm.
Like I'm floored at how many messages I'll get about people in the same scenario. Different, you know, different things have happened, but it's like, man, I had no idea. It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah,
It's so heartbreaking.
yeah. It truly is heartbreaking. But I'm glad that it's been therapeutic for you to be sharing about it,
Yeah,
and that it's helped bring other people together. Like, I think that's a really
yeah,
amazing piece that
it's been a
you've.
beautiful thing that was I did not see coming,